Hey everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
Welcome back, Booze Crew, for another week of history and mystery.
Hi friends.
How y'all doing?
How you doing?
How you doing out there?
How's everybody?
So what's new with you, babe?
Not much, working, hanging out,
No.
getting over being sick.
What kind of sick were you?
We had the vid.
We had the vid?
Well,
No, you had the vid.
Y'all still have the vid.
Unfortunately, I can't seem to shake it,
I
and it
know.
is like really affecting me.
And the chitlins too, man. It's crazy.
They're seeming to like get over it. Like, they're dealing with it. I don't know why. I don't. It's just really taking its toll.
Yeah, they're
on me.
dealing with it better, but still popping up positive.
It's-
So I don't know.
But as I promised on Twitter, Booze Crew, I said no matter what, we would make sure that we would come out with an episode on time. And we've got a pretty cool one today. But before we do that, I was actually on a podcast recently.
Yes, you were.
Where I got to play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. And we did the Stranger Things module. Yes, go ahead, Megan.
Nerd.
I knew you were going to say that. I had a blast. It was so much fun. I got to be on there with other podcasters. And like I said, it was the Strangers thing module, whatever you want to call it, the adventure. And I actually got to do it twice because the first time it didn't get recorded. So you'll never get to hear the first one where I totally kicked butt.
Yeah, you did.
But I want to give a shout out to Cody at Dungeons and Podcast. And we're going to go ahead and play his promo for you guys. And if you like us and you're into D&D, maybe go over there and check his show out and give him a follow and a like and pat him on the back.
Cool.
Podcasts. There's plenty. From true crime to comedy, pop culture to politics. Hell, there's even plenty of D&D actual plays out there too. If there's a topic, there's an indie podcast for it. And that's where I step in. Welcome to Dungeons and Podcasts. At DMP, I take your favorite TTRPGs and your favorite indie podcasters, combine them together for everyone to enjoy. So come on, let's roll the dice.
Dungeons and Podcasts is available on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Good Pods.
Yeah, if that's your thing, that sounds actually super cool.
If that's your thing.
I remember you playing it, and I would come in a couple times. I came in a couple times while you were playing. You had so much fun.
Oh, I had a blast.
So much fun. When was the last time before that you played?
I used to play with my stepdad when I was like 14. And I loved it, but then as time went on, he started working more, and I got older and got into some more nefarious things.
Yeah.
And it just kind of slipped away, but I had always, had it in the back of my head, like, I want to play.
Yeah.
And it took me into my 40s to finally find somebody to play it with again.
I'm glad you had so much fun, and I'm glad you played.
But it's over now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to listen to it, we did awesome. We ruled the upside down. So it was super cool. Go check him out. It's a Dungeons and Podcast. You can also find him on Twitter. Go shout him out. Give him some love. Follow the man. He's a super good guy.
Yes.
Cody's awesome. But we are going to not quite yet move on to the topic of the show today. But I have a snippet of a story that I'm going to tell to the best of my ability. And I'm not going to tell the whole thing because I'm hoping that we are going to get the rest of it straight from this person's mouth.
Yes.
But the story goes that our friend Ashley from Lullaby the Fear podcast, which shout out Ashley, and if you'd like to hear us do our voice acting again, make sure you catch the first episode of the Richard Ramirez case that she's doing over there in her show.
Yes, and I just have to say, hey, Ashley. Hey, girl, hey.
Ate her butt. But we were talking one day in Spaces, and she told me that she had an experience in her old house. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into the story, so I'm only really going to reference this clip that I have to play. And the backstory behind this clip was that they had a lot of activity going on, quite negative activity at that. And her mom was not afraid of it, more so she embraced it.
Like curious about it.
Well, she went beyond curious.
Yeah.
She went on into trying to contact it. Ooh. So you can't see the video, but the video is actually, it's just a candle in a dark room. And what she had told me is that I want to say she had a spirit box. So the noises you're going to hear actually come from a spirit box. I could be wrong. If it comes in otherwise, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember this. But she said, other than that box, there was not a sound in this room. Nothing. Like dead silence. And what you're about to hear is not in real time. It's actually slowed down. Because she said when they played it back and slowed it down was when they heard these noises. And they did not hear them in regular time.
In regular speed.
Could not hear them.
Ugh.
So we're going to play these sounds. I'll play them. If I can get through them twice, I'll play them twice. But they kind of freak me out.
Yeah, I've already heard this. And
a couple times. And it's creepy.
They are quite uncomfortable.
They are.
To listen to. So enjoy.
It's 12 seconds of your life that you are going to regret listening to. But
or possibly 24 if you listen twice.
We're probably going to listen twice.
Let's do it.
Second time. Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
It makes me uncomfortable to listen to it.
No. I do not at all. Ugh. Oh my God.
Like I said, I didn't want to get too far into telling the story because I'm trying to get her to write it in. And I would, instead of trying to remember it from a space 3 weeks ago, I would much rather get the story from her so it's accurate.
Yeah, first-hand account. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Man, so creepy, dude.
I do not. Nope. I don't like that.
When I first got it from her, I didn't know that it was slowed down. So I was like, what, did you guys not hear this?
Yeah.
And I was like, and she's like, no, we didn't hear it until we slowed it down. And that's what came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
And I'm assuming they didn't hear it like in real time.
I'm going to be honest
like,
with you though. Now I've heard all the other stories already.
Right.
That is not the worst part. Not even close.
Ugh.
Not even close. So Ashley, I know you listen. And I really want that story because now people are going to want to hear it.
Please. Or you could like, come on.
Yeah.
And we could like hear it in real time with you.
Yeah, bro. You know about it. I will, we could do it through Zoom or Spaces. I don't care.
Let's go. Come on. I never get to hang out with you in Spaces.
when would you be able to? But we do have to move on.
We do.
But hopefully we'll get that story. And today, we're going down south.
Yeehaw.
To a place I would consider the Midwest. But I'm sure people are going to argue with me about it. Where are we going?
We are going to Texas.
Yeehaw! That's right, y'all. We're doing Texas Tech.
Yes.
Texas Tech. This was actually the very first listener suggestion.
It was.
It was.
I know.
But we just never did it. I think I was intimidated. I was intimidated to do it because it's college.
Yeah.
And because it's another podcaster who suggested it, one that is, they're very well known. So I just didn't want to do a bad job.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at. She's one of my friends on the Twitter with everybody. And I didn't want to do a bad job. I wanted to make sure I did it at least decently. So this goes out to a fellow podcaster named Abigail from the Manic Pixie Weirdo Podcast. So this one's for you.
Hey, Pixie.
Sorry it took so long. So without further ado, I guess we should just go ahead and get into this one.
Let's do it.
Cue stereotypical music. It's normal. I'd like to give a shout out to wikipedia.com, ttu.edu, and encyclopedia.com.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Where's the Wikipedia?
I said it first.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, my bad.
It's fine. She's not respecting the music.
I was only half listening.
Today's story finds us in Lubbock, Texas, where we visit Texas Tech. Lubbock is the 11th most populous city in the state of Texas and the county seat of Lubbock County. With a population 257,141 in the 2020 census. The city is also 86th most populous in the United States. The city is in the northwestern part of the state, a region known historically and geographically as the Llano Estacada. My Spanish is bad. And ecologically is part of the southern end of the High Plains, lying at the economic center of the Lubbock metropolitan area, which has an estimated population of 327,424. Pretty big place.
Yeah.
In 1867, the land that would become Lubbock was the heart of Comancheria, the shifting domain controlled by the Comanche. Lubbock County was founded in 1876. It was named after Thomas Saltus Lubbock, former Texas Ranger and brother of Francis Lubbock, governor of Texas during the Civil War. As early as 1884, a U.S. post office existed in Yellow House Canyon, a small town known as Old Lubbock, where Northtown was established about 3 miles to the east. In 1890, the original Lubbock merged with Monterey, another small town south of the canyon. The new town adopted the Lubbock name. The merger included moving the original Lubbock's Nicollet Hotel across the canyon on rollers to the new town site. Lubbock became the county seat in 1891 and was incorporated on March 16th of 1909, the same year the first railroad train arrived.
Wow.
Texas Technological College, now known as Texas Tech University, was founded in Lubbock, Texas, and is the focus of today's episode. The history of Texas Tech University dates back to the early 1880s, but the university was not established until 1923. The call to open a college in West Texas began shortly after the arrival of settlers in the area in the 1880s. In 1917, the Texas legislature passed a bill creating a branch of Texas A&M to be located in Abilene. However, the bill was repealed 2 years later during the next session after it was discovered that Governor James E. Ferguson had falsely reported the site committee's choice of a location. Nicknamed Pa Ferguson, he was impeached and removed from the governorship of Texas. He was replaced by William P. Hobby after the Texas House of Representatives found him guilty of 10 of 21 charges. These included misappropriation of state funds, falsification of records, unwarranted interference with the control of the University of Texas. He directed the Board of Regents to fire a leading educator and prominent Democrat, A. Carswell Ellis, and refusal to divulge the source of personal loan of $156,500, which was a huge sum at the time.
Wow. That's a lot.
After new legislation passed in the State House and Senate in 1921, Governor Pat Neff vetoed it, citing hard financial times in West Texas. Furious about Neff's veto, some in West Texas went so far as to recommend that West Texas secede from the state. In 1923, the legislation decided that, rather than a branch campus, an entirely new university would better serve the needs of the region. On February 10, 1923, Neff signed the legislation creating Texas Technological College, and in July of that year, a committee began searching for a site. When the members of the committee visited Lubbock, they were overwhelmed to find residents lining the streets to show support for the idea of hosting the institution. That August, Lubbock was chosen on the first ballot over other area towns, including Floydada, Plainview, and Sweetwater. Construction of the college campus began on November 1, 1924. 10 days later, the cornerstone of the administration building was laid in front of 20,000 people. Governor Pat Neff, Amon G. Carter, Reverend E. E. Robinson, Colonel Ernest O. Thompson, and Representative Richard M. Chitwood, the chairman of the House Education Committee, who became the first Texas Tech business manager, spoke at the event. Chitwood served in this position only 15 months and died in November 1926, with an enrollment of 914 students, both men and women. Texas Technological College opened for classes on October 1, 1925. It was originally composed of 4 schools: agriculture, engineering, home economics, and liberal arts. Texas Tech grew slowly in the years. During the 1930s, Bradford Knapp, the university's second president, proceeded with an expansion program, which included new dormitories, the first library, which is now the mathematics building, a golf course, a swimming pool, paved streets and alleys, and even landscaping. A proposed $80,000 allocation for a football stadium was shelved. The library won the approval of Governor James V. Allred because the state cut appropriations by 30% at the start of the Great Depression. President Knapp applied for assistance from the major New Deal agencies to expand Texas Tech, including the Works Progress Administration, Public Works Administration, Civil Works Administration, and the National Youth Administration. Wyatt C. Hedrick, son-in-law of Governor Ross S. Sterling, was the architect of all campus PWA projects. Wyatt Cephas Hedrick doesn't get more country than that.
Cephas.
Bo Cephas. Wyatt Cephas Hendrick Carmel was born December 17, 1888, in Chatham, Virginia, and died May 5, 1964, in Houston, Texas. He was an American architect, engineer, and developer, most active in Texas in the American South. He began his career as an engineer, working in Virginia and in Texas. He started his own firm in Fort Worth and then later merged with the architecture firm of Sanguinet and Stats, I think it's how it's pronounced, States maybe, before buying out the interest of the senior partners. Military training was conducted at the college as early as 1925, but formal reserve officers training corps training did not start until 1936. And by 1939, the school's enrollment had grown to 3,890. Now, although enrollment declined during World War II, Texas Tech trained 4,747 men in its armed forces training detachments. Following the war, in 1946, the college saw its enrollment leap from 5,366 from a low of 1,696 in 1943. By the 1960s, the school had expanded its offerings to more than just technical subjects. The Faculty Advisory Committee suggested changing the name to Texas State University, feeling the phrase technological college did not define the institution scope. And while most students supported this change, the board of directors and many alumni, wanting to preserve the double T, opposed it. Other names, University of Southwest, Texas Technological College and State University, and Texas University of Art, Science, and Technology were considered, but the board of directors chose Texas Tech University, submitting it to the state legislature in 1964. A failed move by Governor John Connolly to have the school placed into the Texas A&M University system, as well as continued disagreement and heated debate over the school's new name, kept the name change from being approved. In spite of objections by many students and faculty, the board of directors again submitted the change in 1969. It finally received the legislature's approval on June 6th, and the name Texas Tech University went into effect that September. All of the institution's schools, except law, became colleges.
Wow.
Texas Tech was integrated in 1961 when 3 African American students were permitted. After its initial rejection of the students' enrollment and the threat of a lawsuit, the university enacted a policy to admit, quote, all qualified applicants regardless of color, unquote. The university offered its athletic scholarship to a black student in 1967 when Danny Hardaway was recruited to play for the Red Raiders football team. In 1970, Hortense W. Dixon became the first African-American student to earn a doctorate from the university. And in 1972, Charles Henry became the first full-time African-American faculty member. Took too long.
Yeah, way too long.
In the 1960s and 1970s, the university invested $150 million in the campus to construct buildings for the library, foreign languages, social sciences, communications, philosophy, electrical and petroleum engineering, art, and architecture. Some other buildings were significantly expanded as well. On May 29, 1969, the 61st Texas Legislature created the Texas Tech University School of Medicine. The Texas Legislature expanded the medical school charter in 1979, creating the Texas Tech University Health Science Center. TTUHSC CAMEL, which is now part of the Texas Tech University system, includes schools of allied health sciences, medicine, nursing, pharmacy, and the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. It has locations in 4 Texas cities in addition to the main campus in Lubbock.
Wow.
In 2011, the combined enrollment in Texas Tech University system was greater than 42,000 students, a 48% increase since just the year 2000. Chancellor Kent Hance reiterated plans to Texas Tech's main campus to reach enrollment of 40,000 students by 2020, with additional 5,000 students at Texas Tech University Health Science Center and 10,000 students at Angelo State University. In 1996, I'm going backwards. In 1996, the Board of Regents of Texas Tech University created the Texas Tech University system. Former State Senator John T. Monfort, later of San Antonio, was selected as the first chancellor to lead the combined academic enterprise. Regents Chair Edward Whitaker, Jr. stated, "The move was made due to the institution's size and complexity. Quote, it's time to take the university into the 21st century," unquote, he said. The Texas Tech University system originally included Texas Tech University and Texas Tech University Health Science Center. On November 6, 2007, the voters of Texas approved an amendment to the Texas Constitution realigning Angelo State University with the Texas Tech University system. Kent Hance, a Texas Tech graduate who had served as a United States representative and as one of the 3 elected members of the Texas Board, which regulates the oil and gas industry, assumed the duties of chancellor on December 1st, 2006. Although growth continued at Texas Tech, the university was not immune to controversy. In 2003, a third-year student at Texas Tech School of Law, filed suit against the university over its policy on free speech zones, which restricted student speech to a single, quote, free speech gazebo, unquote. In the following year, a federal judge declared the policy unconstitutional.
You can't see, but my eyes are squinting quite small at the moment.
We're not college age. We don't have to worry about it.
A gazebo?
Yeah.
Okay.
To meet the demands of its increased enrollment and expanding research, the university has invested more than $548 million in the new construction since 2000. It has also received more than $65.9 million in private donations.
Whoa.
In April 2009, the Texas House of Representatives passed a bill to increase state funding for 7 public universities. Texas Tech University is classified by the state as a, quote, emerging research university, unquote, and is among the universities that will receive additional state funding for advancement toward, quote, Tier 1 status. 3 funds: the Research University Development Fund, the Texas Research Incentive Program, and the National Research University Benchmark Fund, have been established and will provide $500 million in grants and matching funds during the fiscal years of 2010 and 2011.
Wow.
And on September 2nd, 2009, the university announced it had received private gifts totaling $24.3 million. And of these, $21.5 million are eligible for match under the Texas Research Incentive Program. In late 2011 and throughout 2012 and 2013, construction began on several new buildings on campus. The construction included a new $20 million petroleum engineering and research building, a new building to house the Rowles College of Business, 2 new residence halls, a $3.5 million chapel, and extensive remodeling of the building that previously housed the Rowles College of Business. I have no idea what that is. The university system endowment surpassed the $1 billion barrier for the first time in March 2014 at a whopping $1.043 billion.
Jesus.
And while this is a paranormal podcast, the history here is long and is shaded by some controversy. There have been numerous stories of deaths on campus, some that are substantiated and some more rumored. However, whether they be fact or stories, the reality is there have been many accounts of paranormal activity that have occurred over the years on this campus. From the haunted science labs to a small boy who supposedly haunts a closet. We just can't be sure. But I think it's safe to say that while some of us may have the chance to enroll at Texas Tech University, some of us may never get a chance to leave. And that is the history of Texas Tech University.
And that, my good sir, was a wonderful ending. Just want to say that. That was great.
You know, it's always my favorite part to write the ending.
I know it
is. This is where I can be theatrical. Because there's a difference in the stuff that we get to write. I write both parts now, but you got to write this one.
I did.
Where I try to focus more on the factual history. Mm-hmm. Whereas when I started doing research for both sides, I find that I get to play more with the story.
Yes,
on
very
your
much
end,
so.
right? Because you can be more descriptive of something that we're not real sure of. But these are facts, so I always want to be as factually correct as I can.
And I get that. And sometimes I, like when I was writing a lot of these stories, most of the time when I do write one, I write it and I find it to be quite factual, just in the way I write. So I always have to go back and add in those descriptive words and change things out. And I like your side of things because it gives like the true and honest history of places, of the land, of the buildings, of the what have you that we're doing. And I thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, this is old school Texas, and unfortunately the South isn't exactly known for being a lovely, fluffy place for people of color back in the day. So I'm sure there are numerous unaccounted for deaths around this area. Not only that, but it's just hard living back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did come across stories of deaths and stuff that I didn't want to do because I knew that you were going to have them in your story or at least bring them up. So I wanted to leave that to you. But regardless, I don't know. I like learning the history of these places. I don't know why. Too. I think it's cool.
I do too, and
and shout out to Marcus Parks from last podcast on the left, who will never listen to this because they are way too big for this. He's from Lubbock, Texas. That's where he's from.
Nice.
So I wanted to throw that out there because every time I hear Lubbock, Texas, that's exactly who I think of. Because had it not been for last podcast on the left, I would have never started podcasting.
Wow. Yeah, that's
they
very
were my
true.
Inspiration.
I know, but I like how you also touched on, whether it be factual or just rumors. I think a lot of places in Texas Tech isn't immune to that.
No,
there are stories that have been carried out for so long and so long and so long, and that I think leads back to the paranormal side of things, where we talk about manifesting something or having something there and turning it into
here's the thing.
could that be a part of it?
We live in the South. Mm-hmm. Southern people can love to tell a good story.
Oh, yes.
Right? So
very much so.
If manifestation of the spiritual activity is a thing, we're doing it because, man, a story in the South, it runs as fast as a river through people. I mean, that's what we do. We tell stories. You know, we're not as hopping as the big cities and stuff in most places. So we tell stories, and that's what we do.
Gotta listen to those good on stories.
See, people think that people in Florida don't talk like that, but they're tripping.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. Old Hog Valley with your Uncle Gary. How y'all doing?
Oh, you get my uncle talking, and then you get my grandma.
Yeah, well,
She
certainly.
talks like this.
Better hope she don't listen. She's gonna think you're making fun of her.
And then my papa and my papa winks. You do it better.
I'm not doing it.
Do it.
God rest his soul. We're doing purple shit. I sure don't. We're doing purple shit.
Yep, that's how my grandpa talked. That's literally how so many people talk down
But
here.
we made it through all my boring history.
We did.
And now it is time to listen to the super fun paranormal stuff. The stuff we're all here
Nice
for.
stuff.
For the story.
I finally got to write another one. I was super excited for this.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And now, time for an ad break.
And now, back to our show. So a special thanks to Texas Tech Ghosts and Legends.blogspot.com and dailytortor.com. With more than 90 years of history, Texas Tech has its share of ghost stories. And from the numerous things that have been said that happened there, it's no wonder it's haunted. Since it was built, some of the original buildings have been torn down and rebuilt, but others are still original. But the tragedies that occurred still linger where they once happened. There are a few ghostly tales from the past and the present. Story 1. Knapp, or Horn Hall, is currently home to hundreds of female Texas Tech students. However, it is widely unknown that these students also share this housing with the ghost of a little boy. There is a storage room on the 3rd floor near a flight of stairs where the boy took a fatal tumble while chasing a ball. Although the identity of the boy is seemingly unknown, it is rumored that he was the son of house mother visiting an older sibling. When it is silent in the dead of night, you can hear him bouncing his ball down the halls of the 3rd floor, or opening and closing doors. It is also said that if you knock 3 times on the storage room door, he will answer with 3 short knocks. Story 2. Finals week can be a stressful time for students and faculty alike. On December 4th, 1967, a desperate student named Benjamin Locke was caught trying to steal an exam from a professor's office by Sarah Morgan, a cleaning woman on the 3rd floor laboratory of the Genio Science Building. The student panicked and attacked her. After nearly decapitating the woman, the student made off with a set of master keys the woman carried on her for work. He was caught and was convicted in 1970, receiving 40 years in prison. The custodian still shows up around finals time, roaming the halls, and her screams can still be heard. Could she be looking for cheating students still to this day? Story 3. The Carol of Lights is a Texas Tech tradition since it started in 1959. The holiday ceremony involves the Tech choir singing out many holiday favorites and ends with a spectacular show of lights engulfing hundreds of students, as well as the 13 buildings surrounding Memorial Circle. Among the students that attend, there is also the ghost of a student who is still searching for his girlfriend.
Where are you?
In the 1980s, just before the end of the semester, he received a Dear John letter from his girlfriend, ending their relationship. Stricken with grief, he climbed to the highest point he could and hurled himself off the roof of the biology building, killing himself. If you ever attend the Carol of Lights and see a tall black shadow man wearing a long coat standing next to you 1 minute and gone the next, it is quite possible you have seen the ghost of the heartbroken student, forever searching for his love. Story 4. Boys sneaking into the girls' dormitory has been a tradition as old as college itself. Back when Texas Tech was a new university, faculty avoided the crowds by using underground tunnels to get from one building to another. On occasion, students would sneak into these tunnels to get across into buildings without being detected. One such student took advantage of these tunnels to sneak into the girls' dormitory. The house mother eventually caught him and asked the custodians to weld a gate so that he could not get in. The student decided to try his luck one more time, but on his last fateful night, he ran into that closed gate and was unable to retrace his steps. He eventually became lost in the maze of tunnels. His body was discovered several days later by Texas Tech police force. According to the rumor, you can still hear him yelling out for help in the tunnels, and sometimes even feel him brush past you in the dark, looking for his way out. Story 5. It is said that Texas Tech campus is full of ghosts of past students and employers. One such ghost is named Brian. In 1983, during finals week, Brian hung himself in the old mechanic shop, which is now used as an instrument room. It is said that during finals, you can still hear him roaming the halls and working away, attempting to finish his research that he was conducting. Story 6. According to legend, there is a nurse that haunts the Student Health Building, also known as Thompson Hall. Before the building's demise in late 2008, it was said that you could hear footsteps on the upper floors when the building is unoccupied. You could feel her presence on the elevator and even see doors slam shut with no one on the other side. Although the identity and cause of death of the nurse is unknown, you could see her on some nights, gazing out of the 4th floor window above the main entrance. A white lady in a window is a main sighting on campus. Staff member Lakita Perkis, a unit coordinator for lab prep in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, has said in the Daily Trader article that she has personally seen ghosts on campus, and that others at Texas Tech have likely encountered spirits too. She said, quote, "I think most places, if they've been around for any length of time, are haunted. The ghosts are not going to bother you if you don't bother them. A lot of people don't pay attention to them if the ghosts look like people. Some ghosts are former professors and students, while others are echoes and psychic memories. For example, in the basement of the chemistry building, ghosts of students from the 1950s have reportedly been seen walking to class, like an echo of something that occurred frequently. This happens a lot, and people don't even know it, because most ghosts that I have experienced aren't shadows, shapes, or orbs. They look like people. For me, the only way I can tell that they are not people is when they do something a person can't do, like walk through a door without opening it. The chemistry building is one of the most haunted buildings on campus, and I think it has a significant amount of supernatural activity, because several pieces of equipment and instruments use large magnetic fields within the building. Most of the dorms have ghosts attached too. There are ghosts all over campus. You'll find them in the biology building, in the chemistry building, in geosciences. For some reason, this little area seems to get a lot of that activity. I don't view ghosts as anything other than people on another plane of existence. I feel sorry for them, like the ghost of the custodian or the young man who committed suicide by jumping off the building, because that's a sad way to end one life. I don't really worry particularly about ghosts. Not all ghosts are of the human variety. The ghost of a cat whose owner died has been spotted in the bell tower of the administration building. The owner went out of town and had someone take care of his cat. He was killed in an automobile accident. Well, the cat escaped and no one could find it. No one thought to look in the bell tower. They found the remains of the cat at some point in the bell tower, and they say when you're alone at night, you can hear the cat in that bell tower, watching for her owner to come back. All of the ghost stories told on Tech Campus, the ghost cat is my favorite because it's interesting without a backstory as tragic as a murder or a suicide. It is important to keep an open mind when it comes to the supernatural and realize there may be more than current students walking around Tech Campus. I'm a scientist. I prefer scientific, logical proof. But when you're dealing with ghosts or any kind of psychic phenomenon, that's just not possible. End quote. So after finding all of the previous claims I read, the one thing I kept finding were personal accounts. I happened upon an article from awesome89.com, and what I found is a personal story from a staff member at Texas Tech. Peggy Flores just retired from being the commencement coordinator at Texas Tech, following 33 years of service. She's seen countless graduates embark on their new journey into the real world. She's also had the privilege of hearing the ghost of Doak Hall play piano just for her. Yep, you heard that correctly. Peggy would hear piano music coming from the room above her office in Doak Hall. Peggy would ask coworkers if they could hear the music, and they couldn't. Other times, she would hear the piano music and call her coworkers to come quickly so they could hear it too. Once the coworkers came into her office, according to Peggy, the music would stop. Peggy had heard that the ghost was the lady the building is named after, Mary W. Doak, the first dean of women's tech at Texas Tech. The room above Peggy's office is an old ballroom that used to be a meeting place for residents back in its heyday. One day, Peggy decided to venture up to the abandoned room. She said that she needed doors on her office and had her supervisor go up with her. She had asked him and the ghosts if they could borrow the doors for her office. Peggy also took her daughter, Rachel Montalvo, upstairs to check it out, only to find a mostly vacant room with a fireplace, a chair, and an old grand piano that was covered with dust. According to Rachel, if a human had been playing the piano, there would have been handprints on the piano and a booty mark on the chair, but there wasn't anything. Peggy is convinced that she heard the piano and that it was Mary Doak herself. No other explanations have ever been presented. In my research, I also found comments from hauntedplaces.org that were posted on the webpage that didn't have very much at all about Texas Tech. And they thought they would also be perfect to share. And this comment is from SB, July 15th, 2014. I used to work in this dorm as an RA. I believe on both the second and third floor in Horn Hall. So the third floor is the top floor below the attic. The only access to the attic is from a staircase in each wing that is always blocked by a heavily locked door. At night, I used to hear someone running down to the end of the hall and then back. It happened so often that as soon as I heard the pounding footsteps, I'd run to my door and look out the peephole to try and catch who was running around at 2 a.m. I never caught anyone. So we had a floor meeting about it, and everyone seemed to be pretty fed up with the noise. But no one knew who was causing it. So the next time I heard it, I stayed in my bed and listened. Maybe hoping to catch people talking. But when I really listened, I realized the noise was coming from above me in the attic. After a while, I just ignored it. But other freaky stuff happened to a few of my residents as well. The second comment was from G, April 3rd, 2019. I live on the first floor of NAP. My roommate and I have experienced different unusual things, but the scariest one is that we both woke up with claw mark scratches on our bodies. So before moving in, please bless the room with some holy water, because yes, this place is super scary. And the third and final comment was from M, March 6th, 2020. I lived on the third floor in Horn, right by the storage attic. Before I knew about the ghost, I had an experience. I was walking to my room from studying at the library at around 2:30, 3 a.m. with my friend, and we walked past the attic, and I heard something fall inside. I had him look and flash his light inside the window, but he didn't see anything. I didn't think much of it, but the next few days, I'd wake up at random times of the night and wake up and feel someone watching me. Not my roommate. She didn't stay at our room often, or things would fall in the middle of the night. So, after all of this, all of these stories, and all of these rumors or fact or whatever you may think they are, no matter the story, the legend, the claim, or fact, there is no doubt that Texas Tech has ghostly happenings on its campus. From students to staff and professors alike, someone always has a story. From shadow figures, footsteps, slamming doors, screams, and all those eerie feelings, they all equal one thing, and that is a haunting. Would you be willing to attend this haunted college campus?
Yes.
Why, yes. Yes, I
That
would.
was awesome. I got very intrigued by Ghost Cat.
I know, right?
Ghost Cat.
I was like, oh, that's so different. I like that.
Until you got to... Now, the girls with the scratches, those were students staying at the dorms?
Yes, those were 3 comments from 3 people who lived in the dorms at Knapp or Horn Hall. It's got 2 different names.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, when earlier today, I was looking...
In this show.
Yeah, I was looking for EVPs to play. And from as much paranormal stuff as we've come across about this place, there's not really any videos or anything.
Like nothing.
It is all personal stories. It's weird to me that something, I guess like a lot of other places you can get shut down and investigators come in, but there's off time in college.
Yeah.
I don't understand why nobody's gone in there and really done an investigation here. Actually.
So, hey, any of our investigation team friends.
It would have to be a big TV one. It would cost a lot of money to do that.
I don't know. I wonder if anybody's ever been like, hey, can we do an investigation there?
I don't
like
know.
even asked, because there's literally nothing
It's weird
to go off of, like watching a video on proof, like, you know, SB7 spirit box sessions. There's nothing.
I just can't get over the fact that there are this many stories and there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to watch.
I know.
One video of some lady telling stories that you saw, and that was it.
Yep.
And it just blows my mind because we see videos of places that are like somebody had a story once there, and that's all it took.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you brought this place up to do.
All in fairness, Abigail brought it up. Thank you, Abigail, from Manic Pixie Weirdo Podcast.
Well, yeah, like she brought it up to you, and then you said it to me.
Yes.
But it was in the very beginning of this and podcasting, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like I had never like what?
I'd be lying if I didn't say originally. I was like, oh, dude.
I went into this like very skeptical that we would find anything, like at all.
I felt the same way. I
may not have come across an absolute abundance
You had
of
more
stuff.
You had more stories, more personal stories than that than most of the ones we cover.
I know. That's
Which-
why I was like,
Is why I find it amazing
I know.
that nobody has ever covered this place
I
like
know.
in a video format. It's
Yep.
nuts. And if we have to get TV people, who do we want to go there? I'm voting Portals to Hell. No, yes, Portals to Hell. Destination Fear wouldn't go there until it was like abandoned and rickety. If you say Kindred Spirits, get out of my room.
Ew, don't you hate on my kindred?
I don't hate
I'm going to
them.
say that just because you said that. No, I'm just kidding. I would really want Destination Fear to go there. That would be my number one, who I would want to go.
I think it's more of a Portals to Hell thing. But it's just me. No, gotta get Ghost Adventures. Psych. So I really did enjoy those stories, and I'm very surprised because scratches and stuff sounds very evil, and everything else seemed not evil.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I
somebody
know.
was doing something in that room.
I don't know. And she said it was like just her and her roommate in there. And they
Crazy.
would both wake up with something.
I'm sure she's not the first college student to get scratches on them, though. I'm just saying.
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
Well, Megan, I think we've reached the time in our show.
That time?
That time. Well, other Stephen. I even paused on that one because the anticipation. We've heard the stories, the history, and the mystery behind it all. I mean, this was probably one of the more interesting ones just because everything we just talked about being that we can find all kinds of stuff except for people going there. It's so weird. But what do you think?
I want to be like, yes, I'm going to go 50-50. I'm going to go just right up the middle. Like, are all these deaths on campus documented?
Yes.
Like, I would really love to know more. I want to know more. I want to know truths. I want to know facts. But there's so many personal stories that you can't be like, nope, you didn't have that because people haven't gone there to do investigations. It's not haunted. Like, you can't do that. So I'm going to say 50-50. I think yes and no.
Okay. That's fair.
What about you?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes solely based on the fact that we haven't seen anything. But the reason I say yes is because the mass amount of personal experiences at this place. They have nothing to gain from it. They have no reason to align themselves with any like big show that came to campus and ooh, now they can attach their name to it. It's not like that. These are just
good point.
Yeah, these are just people having experiences and moving on in life going, yeah, I went there, did this stuff happen to me. So I think it gives a lot more validity to the stories because they're not clout chasing off of something that's already happened there.
Right.
I mean, other than Abigail telling me and then us doing it, I would have never known Texas Tech University had any kind of paranormal activity.
Right.
I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's a good point.
I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said about a place that literally nobody's ever been to and people still have lots of experiences because I think a lot of places, like big name places, I'm not saying they don't have activity, but I think a lot of people claim they've had personal experiences there because, I can be tied to this place now. I've been there and it was super spooky because this happened to me. But these people have nothing to gain from this. This is just, and even the one girls with the room were like, hey, just get it cleansed before you go there, It was
they weren't
rough.
like, oh my God, like this, super crazy thing. They were just like,
and the ghost cat.
Just be careful.
And I want to just support the ghost cat because I think that's adorable. So, yeah, I do. I think this place has a super good chance of having real paranormal activity.
Okay.
And I really hope that at some point, maybe somebody will go there and be able to investigate. Maybe they've tried. Maybe they've tried and the school turned them away. I don't know. Yeah. But maybe one day we'll get to see it happen. I think this is the most educational one we've done just because I never knew about this.
Yeah.
I know what Texas Tech is.
And I
watch college football.
Yeah. Most of what I
Gators.
found was like, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Most of what I found was just a very light skim too on the internet. Like I didn't go like deep diving for stuff. I didn't join Reddit threads and like all this kind of crazy stuff. Like this was just general knowledge on websites and people literally just writing comments. And where I found those comments, this webpage was literally like, this happened in this building. And that was it. It was like 2 sentences on this page. And I was like, most of the time I scroll down to the bottom because I've had success finding comments at the bottom of things. And I always do. And I was like, it was the only place I found comments was this webpage with literally 2 sentences on it. I was like, okay. It was very weird, but I was like, wow. Like, wow. It wasn't this big, huge thing too. So I don't know.
So I think at the end of these from now on, we should tally up our score and we should put the For the Booze approval or an unapproval rate on it. And since you said 50 and I said 100, that brings us to 75%. So Booze Crew, Texas Tech gets the seal of approval. So yeah, I would say there's a pretty good chance there is something happening at Texas Tech University.
Yeah, there's definitely something. I need to know more. I need to know more.
Well, maybe we'll keep an eye on it and see if any new stories pop up. There might be a Reddit thread out there for it. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we'll do a deeper dive and
I'm
maybe do
all
a
about-
part 2 later down the
all
road or
about
something.
Diving deep. So
I'm so intrigued by this place.
Yeah.
I really, really am.
I would not mind. Maybe not now. Maybe we'll give it a year or so, and maybe we'll revisit it and see if anything new pops up. Who knows? Maybe we'll inspire somebody to go out there and try to get on campus and investigate.
Little old us.
Maybe.
Oh my god.
Nobody really listens to us, but
Oh my god, stop it.
what? They're not leaving reviews. Just saying. So, where can they find you?
Well, they can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and over on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on Twitter at forthebooze.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh, my brain froze up. And on YouTube, for some reason, For the Boo. I know I say this For the Booze. I know I say this every time, but I just can't fathom anybody wanting to do that. But maybe you just want to hear it on your TV, and that's fine. We love that for you. Do it. Also, don't forget, listener stories. Before we abandon it, we're going to try real hard to get you guys to send them in. So, forthebooze12@gmail.com. We need them. We need you. Oh, was that too much?
I just want to hear your cool, crazy stories.
Yeah, we need
That's
them.
all.
So, Also, remember to rate the show wherever you listen. 5 stars. Just take 2 minutes of your time and do that. And we'll take the hours that it takes to put it out for you guys. 'Cause we love you. So
and we say ratings and reviews, but they do. They really, really, really help.
they do. That's
So if
the
you
only way
wanna
other people
take-
get to know us. It's the only way they get to know us. So.
Yeah, if you want to take maybe 5 seconds, that would be great. And we would really, really appreciate it.
Megan would really appreciate it.
Really, really.
So I guess this is going to bring us out for the week. And I had a fun one on this one. I think it was
too.
a very interesting one to do. And we're going to be back. The next one hopefully will be the one that we get to do. And it's going to be awesome.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks,
We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.